Glad to know we're on to that moment again when we're on Success Precept. Remember, usually on Success Precept, of course, I'm never alone. I'm always with Mr. Kanu Emejiwe. Uncle K, good morning.
Morning, Sammy.
Good to have you in Success Precept again.
Good to
If
hear.
you followed us last week, we were talking about something we started serious, acquiring the nature of God. Acquiring the nature of God. I got so much that day, and part of it was, when Uncle K talked about the fact that we do not need to we're not supposed to live our lives every day trying to act out a script just to please God, especially because we want something from Him. But no, now we should live our lives every day and conforming to the nature and standards of God. I mean, if you want to please God, of course, it should be in living your life based on the standards that He had set. And He made an instance of forgiveness and said, when you forgive, you provoke the spirit of mercy, which eventually, which makes for your preservation, which makes for your protection, which makes for favor, which makes for a lot of things that we require or desire every day in life. And we're sure going to continue from that point. Yes, Uncle K knows how to put it better. And of course, I know you want to listen to him.
Thank you, Sammy. We've been talking about acquiring the nature of God, and last week we tried to emphasize a few points. You've talked about the forgiveness part. We did say things about forgiveness and the power of forgiveness. But before we look at that, I just want to re-emphasize a few things that we discussed.
Mentioned.
Yes. First of all, I said that when you conform to God's directives, the more you conform to God's directives, the more you transform to His image. That's a summary of a lot of things I was saying. That the more you are conforming to His directives, the more you are transforming to His image. Because I said this thing about God, we tend to look at Him as some deity that is looking at us to watch whether we are following His instructions. Are we doing it? Are they doing it? Are they doing it? On a typical day, every Christian gets up on Sunday, goes to church, and starts to act out a script. It's like having schizophrenia. You have two personalities, one when you're in church and when you're outside church.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of people are actually mad.
Yeah.
They don't know they're mad because that's madness. Schizophrenia is madness. It's a dual personality. You have a Maka in church and you have a Mecca outside church. You have two people operating in you because you have seen God as an extraneous deity. I keep saying this. The relationship with God should be one of understanding. The Bible says, "Draw near to listen, than to offer the sacrifice of fools." I want you to just look at that statement carefully. What is the sacrifice of fools? And I'll leave you to answer that for yourself, because there's a difference between saying foolish sacrifices and the sacrifice of fools.
Okay.
Now, when the Bible says sacrifice of fools, it simply means that the person giving the sacrifice is foolish.
Exactly.
Who's a foolish one? One who doesn't have understanding. In other words, don't give me sacrifices that are devoid of understanding, because you'll be giving me the wrong things. That is distinct from saying foolish sacrifice. A foolish sacrifice might mean that the sacrifice is foolish. Maybe the giver is not foolish, but the sacrifice is foolish. Maybe you are giving the wrong thing because you don't know better.
Yeah.
You see, why I'm trying to illustrate this is that the relationship with God is one that is born in understanding and can only work in understanding. And that's why I've taken time previously to talk about some milestones where I said you must have knowledge first, and God will give you understanding.
Yes.
If you have knowledge, the next step God will give you is understanding. And then when you have understanding, you can now go on to other things like commitments and then sacrifice. Because these things follow logically. You cannot be committed to something you don't understand.
Very true.
A lot of people are having a relationship with God that they claim they're committed to, but in truth, they have no idea who He is. So how can they be committed to? Some you cannot. Marriages fail because people are claiming commitment to partners that don't have any understanding. They don't even know. Because you haven't taken time to go through the basic rudiments of understanding each other, a relationship in context with what you're supposed to do in this life. And whenever I say what you're supposed to do, people get so religious and say things like, I'm working for God. I tried to debunk this working for God business last week. I said, please stop working for God. Let God work in you first. Because this concept of talking of working, people keep saying I'm working for God. What on earth are you doing for Him that He cannot do for Himself? And in working for God, you seem to think in your mind that you have accumulated some kind of accrued interest.
Yes.
That God now owes you something.
Yes.
because I've been working for you. And he's not an evil taxmaster, and he doesn't abuse
Diligent
labor.
reward.
So he gets exactly, he pays. So God is going to pay. No, look, listen, stop dealing. Stop. I don't know how to say. Just remove that thing from your head first. Don't work for God. Let God work in you. When God has worked in you, everything you do then is working for Him. But you cannot be separated from Him and be working for Him, because then you'll be offering the sacrifice of fools. Are you understanding my point? Because what is in your heart is clearly far away from. That's why I said last week that the reason why people demand reward from God for doing things for Him is because they are far from Him. They're separated from Him. These things that they do is not what they would normally do. Are you getting my point?
Very well.
Some of you come here and say, okay, please help us sweep this place. I would normally want to sweep the place. But maybe in reverence, I feel that you're going to give me something. I pick up a broom and start sweeping it. My eye is on the reward, not on anything else.
It's true.
So why people are looking for rewards is because their hearts are not with Him. They're far from Him. Whereas what He's talking about, as I said, let Him work on you first. Because when God works on you, you have a heart for Him. So everything you do will naturally be directed at pleasing Him. Naturally will be directed at. But on the other hand, when God hasn't done any work on you, everything you do is an act. It's not, you don't want to do it. You don't feel like doing it. I keep saying, if they say there's no reward for tithing and offering, who many people will tithing and offering?
Still tithe?
Exactly.
Would
you come to church and give your tithe? If they forget about all they talk about Devorah being rebuked and windows of heaven opening and all those things, say, look, listen, just pay your tithe. That's all. Many people will stop because and that's what He's looking at. Their heart. These people are not giving me because they want to. They're giving me because they want something or they are afraid of something. And that's not a relationship that is progressive. You're not acting out a script for God. So if you can understand these basic things, you will stop seeing life as saying I'm doing anything for God, because you are God. He is you. Jesus personified that relationship. That's why He set an example for us, that it's possible to have this kind of relationship in spite of our flesh and become one with the Father. When you get to that point, you'll find that what you do is naturally what He wants you to do. Are you understanding my point? It's just like when we talk about relationship. When you're in love with somebody, what you tend to do are the things that the person would want to do.
Exactly.
That's why the moment you tell yourself you're no more in love with the person, you start doing what you know exactly. You see that there will be two different things.
What you want to do. And then some people are intelligent and say they don't know what to do.
Yes, they say I don't know what to do. But the truth of the matter is that they just say that what I would really like to do is not what you want me to do.
Yes.
And that's the problem we're having.
Yes.
And a lot of relationships and marriages have broken down at this point, where the two people want two different things. And when Christ likens your relationship with your spouse to His relationship with the church, you can see the problem.
Yeah, very true.
Two different things. You want two different things. You see, because in marriage is different. You see, you're no longer afraid of your spouse. And you don't think your spouse can give you anything further. You see, when a girl is being courted by a guy, she will do the things he wants because she expects that something will come out of a relationship. The guy will do the things the girl wants because he expects something to come out of a relationship. That's how you're dealing with God. But you see, the moment the guy gets what he expects and he doesn't see there's anything more coming, then he starts to do what he wants and no longer what she wants. And then they start having problems. Likewise, the girl, at the same time, as soon as she gets what she wants, whether it is money, even if it's marriage, some people, once they get married, they start to do what they want. That's why you say, oh, when we were courting, they were different. Now we're married, the person is different. Because when we were courting, the person expected an end. The person was looking at the result, and the result was marriage. Right. So the person was doing what you wanted the person to do, not what he or she wanted to do. And that's why when we talk about relationships, we're saying, find yourselves, know what you each other want, and determine that is good enough for you. Let what I want be what you want. Then we know we're in the right boat. Not when we're at divergent ends. Because see, what happens is that when you now get into the marriage and both partners are satisfied in the sense that they've gotten what they want from each other, then they will go revert to their default position of doing what they want. And then that's where the conflict comes, because you're not complaining that he's now doing something else and she's complaining you're not doing something else. But in the beginning, you could have sorted this out properly. Now, let's liken that to a relationship with Christ and the church, and because that's the same kind of relationship he's talking about. That we are now in a relationship with Christ, where we are doing something for Him because we expect something from him.
Okay.
That's the problem. And he is saying, if we consummate this marriage, tomorrow your true character will come out and you will destroy this relationship.
Very true.
You can't mock God. And these things are real. And that's why I keep saying, I'm trying to emphasize it. I cannot overemphasize it. Because this is the bedrock of the mistakes we make as Christians. Your business, your simple business. See, the more you are transforming, because I said, even you conform to his words, to his instructions, you are transforming to his image. Now, the more you transform to his image, the more you create a heaven around you. See, because once you are transformed, you're becoming godlike.
Exactly.
And when you become godlike, you have godlike powers, godlike thoughts, godlike visions, godlike results.
And godlike environment altogether.
And that's the heaven. If you get results that God will get, and you do the things God will do, you have created heaven.
Around you.
You have created heaven around you. And that's what we're here to do. I keep saying it. Our first and foremost, our business as Christians is to bring a piece of heaven. That God has empowered you with something that you create in that your little world. And if every one of us created a world, an environment that was heavenly, that heaven we're talking about.
The whole heaven is
exactly, the whole heaven is here. Thy kingdom come as it is in heaven. Now the question is, where is heaven? And that's why theologians have differed. Some people say it's up, some people say it's down, some people say it's side, some people all is immaterial. The point remains that when your mind and your soul, they forget your body. Because your body has very little part to play. Your body is the one who's going back to earth. Your body is a vessel. But people that spend their time gratifying their bodies are the people that are thoroughly confused about where heaven and hell are. But the truth of the matter is that if you take your mind to a place where it is relaxed and completely happy and at peace, you are as close to heaven as you ever want to be. You will start to get results that are heavenly. Take your mind to a place where it is bitter, antagonized, and pained. You are as close to hell as you ever want to be. So you see why you're quarreling about the location of hell and heaven. Some people are already in hell.
From here.
From here.
From here.
Yeah. Before, as some people are already in heaven.
From here.
Yeah.
Before they get translated.
As some people are in heaven. Christ was here on earth. He was always in heaven. He never departed from the presence of the Father. And it's not the presence people talk about going to fast and pray. Because I did tell you once, I did ask this question, that if Christ kept going to fast and pray, what was he asking for?
Exactly. It was usually the content of the prayer.
It was not power. He had it all. It was not followers. He didn't even want them. Because half the time he heals people, say, look, just buzz off. Don't, look, just go away. Don't tell anybody what happened. Go to the priest, identify yourself, and that's it.
It doesn't happen today.
No.
Today,
people just want people flocking around them.
You flock, have a lot of people.
Yeah, because the number of people around you validate your stupidity as far as I'm concerned. Because you're not acting like Christ. Christ didn't need man to validate him. I don't need to have 1,000 followers to validate me. The fact that in my mind, in my soul, and in my body, I am in heaven, I'm validated. You are the one that is suffering, not me. And that's the truth. That's the thing about this gospel. You can choose. It's not by force. All this stuff, hey, stop and go, you go to hell. Look, some people are already in hell. The only thing I have to tell you, I'll have to show you how you're already in hell. A lot of people listening to me this morning are already in hell. They are facing real and veritable hell. Because when your family structure is broken down, your family unit is gone, your job is gone, your career is gone, your finances are gone, everything is gone, you are in hell. Sure. And then you're going to contend with me and tell me that the thing you are doing is the right thing. Then keep doing it. Keep doing it. Because when you keep doing that thing you're doing and you're getting results that are there, you are the one suffering. And that is a funny thing.
Some people think they excel in one area of life, maybe one or two areas of life are excelling, and then that's all.
What are they excelling in?
Maybe they're making the plenty money.
They're making plenty money with all the other problems they have. The guys that are making all this money are the ones that will tell the truth about their existence. And I did not say you should not make money. I won't call myself a poor person. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, money was never my priority. Money follows me. I don't follow it. This is a fundamental difference. Okay. When you are following money, you're in hell. You have created a hellish environment for you. When you're following money, you're already in a place where you can never come out of, because all money will do is direct you. Money is a wicked taskmaster, but a faithful slave. That's why.
Okay.
There are some awesome truths that we people will hear.
Yeah.
I'll say it again. Money is a wicked taskmaster, but a faithful slave. It is money that makes people sell their birthright, like Esau. It's money that make people steal, cheat, maim. People have been known to give up their own body parts. Some people have given up their own fertility for money. That's what I'm saying. It's a wicked taskmaster. Because if it asks you to give up the generations that you, and believe you me, before money starts to make that demand of you, it is because you have a very bright future and a great generation. You are supposed to, money cannot ask you to give up a generation that if you're going to produce monkeys and baboons, if your children are going to be problems, nobody cares about it. Nobody will, yeah, exactly. So when you start having demands about giving up your generation, because there are men that have given up their ability to have children because they wanted to pursue wealth, and they have told themselves that when they have the money, they can buy the children and buy the wealth. Somebody once said that he can buy love with money. Unfortunately, in the world we live in today, it looks like it's true, but it's not. Let's go back. That money is a wicked taskmaster. But a faithful slave. It is when you're in control of money that you can talk about money answering all things like the Bible speaks.
Yes.
But when money is in control of you, you are the one.
Yes.
That is answering all things. Money
Yeah.
is calling you, telling you where to go. Money tells you where to live. Money tells you the job to take. Jesus. Money tells you the career to follow. Money tells you the partner to marry. You are in hell already. Don't look far. Don't think. Don't be worrying about where hell is. You have already found it. Because all the days of your life, as long as money is directing you, it's going to be directing you into situations that will deprive you of peace, joy, happiness. Those things that money cannot buy.
Those things that money cannot buy.
But when you are the master to money, you're the one that sends money on errands. You're the one that tells you to go there and bring this. You're the one that tells you to go there and do this. I can change the lives of everybody with the money I have. But when money is leading me, I have no life.
And amazingly, you assign money to either be the taskmaster or the slave.
It's all about you. And that's what I'm saying. This whole thing about relationship with God is the same principle. I just said it. That in my mind, in my soul, I'm in a position of rest. And that's what the Bible is talking about. Say, come into my rest. Come into my rest. And when you come into the rest of God, you will find that He does other things for you easily. You're no more struggling. You're no more struggling. Results are being created by themselves by virtue of the fact that you're in a position of rest. And that's what I'm talking about, that you have become like the creator. And so when you speak to one, look, the centurion said to Jesus, look, you don't need to come to my house. You are Lord and Master. I know how it works. I have men under me. I say to one, go, and he goes. I say to one, come. God, oh, Jesus Christ. I say to one, come, and he comes. You don't need to. And that's the same thing. That when you enter into that position of rest, when you become more like the creator, you say to take circumstances and situations, go, they go. You say to the ones you want to come, they come. And that's why I'm saying you have created for yourself a veritable heaven, devoid of the acrimony, the bitterness, the wickedness that you face every day of your life. You wake up and you say, you just wish things would be different. You wish this world were different. You wish things were. But the truth of the matter is you have created the environment that you are living in, and you must change what you are thinking and doing to change that result you're getting. Stop all this boo-ha-ha we're doing, and stop doing this deity business. God is not a Madionha, and he's not Shango, and he's not whatever other gods you have ascribed to him. He's beyond. The concept of God is beyond the understanding of the human mind, and that's why God only reveals parts of him to you that are relevant to the mission you are here on earth. No one of us has a full comprehension, because the word God, we formed it. He's bigger than the word. Let me say, language has limited him in naming him.
Exactly.
So when Moses asked his name, he didn't give a name. Language has limited him in naming him. And when you get to this level of understanding, then you will start to appreciate God in everything, even in other people. You start to see it. And then you start to see the results come to you naturally. From the brow of your head, you will sweat to eat bread. It's a curse. Therefore, what was the sweat meant for? To enter his rest. He said, sweat to become like me. Jesus says, carry your cross to become. It's not go and suffer. People think this cross burial, go and suffer. It is suffering to the extent that, yes, you will give up self, the things that you want,
for
the things that for the cause you believe in. So that is suffering. It's not suffering that I'm going to lie down and they'll flog me. Or that he has sent me on missionary journey to Kuala Lumpur. No, you don't know anybody, they just start going there. And your family is wiped out there. And you say you're suffering for the. No, please, let's not even go there. That's it. These truths are universal, they are true. The more you transform to his image, the more you create a heaven. The relationship between God, between his instructions and success, the relationship between God's instruction and success are indirect, not direct. This is important.
Okay,
The
someone needs to
relationship,
hear that again.
the relationship between God's instructions
And
and
success.
success are indirect. They're not direct. Because let me emphasize, let me elaborate on that. What we understand is that when God says do this, when you do this, you see a result.
Okay.
So we are off because of that. We are often
Always.
looking at the result,
Yeah.
and that's why we have not understood what He said. Why He said we should do what we should do, and in not understanding that, we have never gotten to know Him. Oh Jesus, 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 Jesus. We have never gotten to know Him because we have not understood that. It is when you understand what the Father is saying. See, He said, "You are no longer. I no longer call you a slave. I call you a friend.
Friend.
And as a friend, you will know what I am doing. As a son, you will know what I am doing." So when He says do this and you have no understanding what He's doing, what He's saying, you're still a slave, and you're going to be doing things because you're saying, okay, they're going to pay me.
Yeah.
It's not a direct result. So He says, don't do this. It's not okay.
Yeah.
Because I have done what God says, therefore I'm entitled. No. It's indirect. Now look at what we have just said. When God says don't do this, when you don't do it, then you become like Him.
Okay.
Then in becoming like Him, you can now get whatever you want.
Access.
Anything.
Anything.
That's the power, and that's where it's hidden. But in looking at it as a direct relationship, is where we often miss it because we are now bogged down trying to do things that we will not normally do to get a result that we see ahead of us. So if He says, "Thou shalt not," let's just take sin. Maybe in the next program we can pick one particular one. "Thou shalt not sin." So okay, let me keep away from sin so that I will get all these other results. But He's saying, "Thou shalt not sin." That if you can hold yourself together and separate yourself from the things of the world, because sin is a relative context.
Exactly.
If you don't understand it, you could be sinning without knowing.
Exactly.
Are you understanding my
Very
point? Because
well.
it's not the obvious things we know, cheating, stealing. There's so many things that you do now that, even this thought pattern that we're talking about is a sin against God. That you're thinking that He's a deity, you can deal with Him like that. Kalo, bring and take.
Yeah.
The more I give Him, the more He gives me. The more I give Him, the more He gives me. He gave you every single thing. The Bible said that while we were still enemies with God, while we are still enemies, He gave His Son. He reconciled us through His Son. So He gave you every single thing without making a demand on you. So please stop telling me you are doing anything to get anything. You see my point? Now that thought in itself is so it annoys me, and I can imagine how He feels. No, I get everything by grace, but understand this grace business. It's this indirect relationship I'm talking about. That when I keep to His instructions, I conform. I start to become like Him. So when I make pronouncements, I use forgiveness as an example. So when I begin to make pronouncements, when I begin to speak into issues, when I begin to talk about things, they just come to me. They happen for me. If you can understand that, it's when you become transformed that you can dominate. Without transformation, you'll be dominated. Like I told you, money will be your master, and then you will suffer. Think about the families that have been ruined by money.
Wow, and interestingly and amazingly, it's been as clear as it has come your way this morning. Okay, and I hope you made some notes. I hope you noted down something. I hope you understood some parts. Yeah. If you didn't note anything, at least I know I did this one talking about money being a wicked taskmaster, but then a faithful slave. And then it's you and I that calls it whether master or slave. It assumes master position or slave position based on where we give it a seat, or based on where we give it a place in our lives. And I just want to ask myself this question now, as maybe you also ask yourself the same question. What have I made it in my life? And then how have I been working? Has it always been about the results? Has it always been about, okay, what I'm going to get from Him? If I do this, I'd get blessed. If I don't, I get punished. Okay, but then we have learned today, at least come away today, that as we do that, we become more like Him. I just decided to underscore becoming like Him. Little wonder it's acquiring the nature of God, and that's what we're talking about. All right, and this is where we will draw the curtain today. Time will permit us only to go thus far, like Uncle K said. As we talk more, as he elaborates more on